The next morning, as usual, Siya completed her morning routine. After having breakfast with Manav, she got into his car and set off for her university. After driving for about half an hour, their car was parked in front of the university gate. Seeing this, Siya said to Kabir, "Have a good day." He wished her the same. Then, saying goodbye to everyone, Siya got out of the car. From the moment she got out of the car until she entered the gate, Manav's car remained parked there. When Siya entered the gate, Manav instructed the driver to move the car forward. As soon as he heard the order, the driver turned the car towards Bajaj Industries at full speed, the same university. When Siya entered, everyone started looking at her, because today she was wearing the college uniform. It was a university uniform that had to be worn 2 days a week, and today was that day. At that moment, Siya was wearing a dark green dress that reached her knees. Along with that, she wore a white shirt and a dark green blazer over it. As always, there was no makeup on her face, just a little kohl in her eyes and lip balm on her lips. Still, she was stunning. Because of the coat, her long, slim, beautiful legs were clearly visible. She wore black shoes on her feet. As usual, with her bag hanging on one shoulder, holding her phone in one hand, and a smartwatch in the other, she had left her hair open today. Just a few strands of hair were clipped back with cute clips adorned with diamonds. Since the moment she entered, everyone's gaze had been fixed on her. It wasn't that Siya had done anything different. She had come dressed in a very simple way, as a student should. All the other girls were also dressed almost like her. They didn't seem that special. But Siya looked like the main idol of a K-pop group, and on top of all this, her attitude made her even more attractive. She had wireless earphones in her ears. Music was playing at full volume. Ignoring everyone, with great grace and pride, she confidently took each step towards her classroom. When she entered the classroom, the entire class, which had been gossiping and having fun a moment ago, fell silent for a moment. Upon entering, Siya raised her eyes and looked around before moving forward. As always, she sat at the last bench, which was by the window, and as always, the seat next to her remained empty during the first lecture because Prince never attended the first lecture. Or rather, he attended very few lectures. But none of this mattered to Siya. She paid no attention to anyone and continued to look at her mobile, listening to music. When the bell rang 2 minutes before the lecture was about to start, she stopped the music, put her AirPods away in her bag, and quietly looked ahead. By now, everyone in the college knew that someone had deliberately edited such photos and posted them in the group. And the teacher who had clashed with her and insulted her had been expelled from the university. Those 4 girls had been rusticated for a month. Not everyone knew which family Siya belonged to, but it was clear that she came from a very powerful family. Therefore, it could be assumed that no one would dare to mess with her anymore. Just then, a teacher entered. As always, she glanced at everyone and asked them to take out their books. Then, she immediately started teaching her subject. Siya also listened to her lecture quietly and took notes of the important points. Thus, 2 lectures of 45 minutes each were completed. This was the last lecture before recess. After this, everyone would get a break. The lecture had started, and a female teacher had entered. Just as she was about to say something, the classroom door burst open with a loud noise, drawing everyone's attention. When everyone looked, they found Prince standing there. He was holding his uniform blazer haphazardly in one hand. His white shirt was worn in a very careless manner, half tucked in and half out. He glanced at the teacher. The teacher, who was fully prepared to scold the person disturbing the class, suddenly fell silent upon seeing Prince. She even lowered her head. Prince ignored everyone and walked to his place, slamming his bag and blazer onto the bench before sitting down. The noise startled every student there, including the teacher. When the teacher saw that Prince was now seated, she glanced at him and resumed her lecture. And like every lecture, this time too, Siya noted down the important points taught in her notebooks. She glanced at the seat next to her and saw that Prince had come into the classroom and was sleeping. For some reason, seeing him made Siya feel a headache. Then, ignoring him, she focused entirely on the lecture. Just like that, this lecture ended, and it was time for the lunch break. Therefore, all the students began to go to the canteen, garden area, and elsewhere to have lunch with their friends. Siya put her notebook in her bag, stretched, then stood up from her place and exited the classroom. Meanwhile, Prince, who had been sleeping for so long, suddenly opened his eyes and stared at Siya. He thought Siya would say something, react, or acknowledge him. But contrary to his expectations, Siya ignored him as if he were invisible. Initially, Prince wasn't very interested in Siya. But as he observed her behavior and attitude, he began to take an interest in her. After thinking for a moment, he decided to follow Siya. Siya went straight to the canteen. As usual, she ordered her milkshake and sandwich. With her order, she went to a corner and sat down. She had no interest in the conversations and people around her. She was lost in her own world. Prince came there, grabbed a bottle of cold drink, and sat right in front of Siya. And she looked at him and, ignoring him, began to enjoy her milkshake. Occasionally she took bites of her sandwich. Prince thought that Siya would at least offer him some food or ask him something, but once again his hopes remained unfulfilled. Meanwhile, all the girls around were getting quite jealous. Prince was the most wanted boy in the entire university. All the girls were crazy about him. They would fight over him, even to the point of physical altercations. Among them was a group from another department. There were a total of 5 to 6 girls who were infatuated with Prince. And the leader of that group was named Anjali Chakraborty. She came from a very wealthy family and had been spoiled with a lot of love and care since childhood. Therefore, she always believed that she could do anything without facing any consequences. Something similar happened today. She was sitting in the canteen, showing off her things to her friends. Just then, seeing all the boys suddenly looking in one direction, she also turned to see. At that moment, Siya was walking by with her order. For a moment, Anjali was stunned by Sia's beauty and stared at her. But then her gaze fell on Prince, who was sitting with Siya. When she saw Prince sitting with her, she was furious. Everyone would want to see them as a couple, and they looked great together, absolutely made for each other. Some girls sitting nearby were whispering about this, which Anjali overheard. Therefore, with anger and hatred in her eyes, she glared at Siya, who was eating her sandwich while using her mobile. Meanwhile, Prince, sitting in front of her, was sipping his cold drink while looking at her. Suddenly, Prince received a call on his mobile. He initially thought of ignoring it, but upon seeing the name on the screen, he got up from his seat and headed outside to avoid any noise. Seeing this, a devilish smile appeared on Anjali's face. She began to approach Siya, followed by her sycophants. Now tell me, what will Anjali do, and will Siya let her do anything, or will she treat her well in her own style?